My blood sugar crashed on the subway. I stumbled right into the arms of a handsome 6 feet 3 inches guy in a trench coat. He expertly unwrapped a piece of candy and slipped it into my mouth. Before I could even thank him, he pulled down his mask. It was my ex-boyfriend's face. His lips curved into a sarcastic smile. Was the ghosting game fun? Hearing that familiar voice, the soul that had just returned to my body flew right out again. You've let yourself go this badly since you left me? Adrian held me down as I was about to bolt. He curled his lips into a smile, but there was no warmth in his eyes. Don't move. You're dizzy. Remember? Am I a ghost? Why do you look so scared? His body heat seeped through his clothes, warm and real. He's this warm, so he can't be a ghost. But he's scarier than a ghost. Adrian didn't let go for a long time. You ate my candy. Aren't you going to do something for me? Can I just Venmo you for it? Do I look like I need the money? Then what do you want? Adrian didn't say anything and didn't let go, seeming to wait for me to up the offer. I guiltily glanced around. Thankfully, it was the middle of the day, so the car was empty except for us. Can you let go of me first? You really don't recognize me? Adrian looked pissed. If I remember correctly, this is the 3rd time we've run into each other this week. He squeezed my wrist. Speak. I recognize you. The corner of his eye twitched up. Say my name. Adrian. When the station announcement came on, it felt like a lifeline. This is my stop. The second the subway doors opened, I ran off like my life depended on it. My heart was still pounding when I looked back and saw Adrian standing right beside me. He had pulled his black mask back on and was looking down at me, his beautiful, expressive eyes looking both passionate and cold. Why did you follow me? I didn't dare meet his gaze. Didn't you want to add me? He pulled up his QR code, his tone turning harsh. Scan it. I hesitated for a second. He held the phone closer. Do I need to say it again? There were more people on the platform now, and I was scared he'd get rough again, so I obediently scanned his code. Done. Adrian put his hand on my shoulder, and I froze from my waist to my back, like a kitten being picked up by the scruff of its neck, unable to even think about resisting. He accepted my friend request right in front of me and changed my contact name to Pain in the Ass. I kept my head down and didn't say a word. If you have something to say it. No, nothing. Haven't seen you in 2 months, and you're still the same little coward. Adrian squeezed the back of my neck. His voice was cold, filled with displeasure and a warning. Come get something to eat with me. I'm hungry. I need to go back and rest. I'll take you back later. I stopped walking, trying to fight back. We broke up. This isn't right. If you want someone to eat with, plenty of people would love to. Adrian just raised an eyebrow, only responding to my first sentence. Did I agree to that? I tried to reason with him. There's no rule that says both people have to agree to a breakup. He seemed to be getting annoyed. When he reached out to pull me closer, I instinctively took a step back. Adrian frowned. Louis, are you not understanding me? I understand. I rubbed my growling stomach and sighed. My dream of eating at the school cafeteria was officially dead. Could you please not be so harsh? Would you listen if I wasn't? I didn't know how to argue with that. Adrian saw my discomfort. You're not paying. Even though he said that, I still led him to a little fast food joint just outside the subway station. It's not like his money grew on trees, after all. This is it? Yeah. I nodded and ordered 2 chicken and rice plates. Adrian didn't complain. He took off his mask, sat down, and propped his chin on his hand, studying me as if we were the only 2 people there. You've lost weight. My face grew hot, and I quickly looked away from his burning gaze. Adrian was tall, and sitting on the long wooden bench, his long legs looked cramped. Are you working a part-time job? I nodded. Did you spend all the money I gave you? I shook my head again. When Adrian and I were dating, I never touched the money he sent me. You look pathetic. He was right. I silently shoveled rice into my mouth. Adrian watched me for a while, then finally seemed to get bored and stood up. 5 minutes later, he came back from the place next door with 2 boba teas. He even put the straw in for me. Eat slowly. I'm not going to steal it from you. He did all these things so naturally, like we were still together. I was a little surprised. The ever-picky Adrian actually, slowly and methodically, finished the entire plate in front of him. I let a comment slip out. "You never used to eat out." "I still don't," Adrian said. "But you ordered it." I nervously bit the straw in my mouth flat. He laughed, looking triumphant. "Let's go. I'll take you back to your dorm." The September sun was still brutal, and even the wind felt hot. I stood outside the door, not following him. Adrian opened an umbrella and ordered a car on his phone before looking back at me. "Come on. Are you waiting for me to carry you?" "No." Giving up, I walked over to Adrian. He wrapped an arm around me, pulling me securely into the shade of the umbrella. Our two shadows huddled together under the flower bed, looking incredibly intimate. Adrian pushed me into the car, then gave the last 4 digits of his phone number as he swung one long leg in. I stared blankly at the back of his hand resting on the seat. A reddish rash had broken out on his pale skin. "What happened to your hand?" Adrian glanced at it, unfazed. "You don't even know your own boyfriend is allergic to the sun." Hearing the word boyfriend, the driver glanced at us in the rearview mirror but didn't say anything. I suddenly realized why he was always so covered up. So that's why he hated going out during the day. "Do you have any cream for it? I'll put some on when I get back." Adrian didn't say anything else. He leaned his head on my shoulder and closed his eyes to rest, looking exhausted. "Don't move. I'm wiped out from following you around the last couple of days." I froze, about to shift my position. "You've been following me? Adrian, did you really think it was a coincidence? This campus is huge. You think you just happened to run into me every single time?" I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. I was supposed to work an all-night shift on Saturday and had only just gotten off. Had Adrian been following me then, too? His handsome brow furrowed slightly. "Wake me when we get there." "Okay." As the taxi drove away, he didn't stop but walked shoulder to shoulder with me right up to the dorm building. "This is me." "Thanks." "For what?" Adrian swiped his student ID and walked in. I stood there, rooted to the spot. "You're a student here?" He gave me a look that said, "What kind of stupid question is that?" I don't even know how I walked the next few steps. The next thing I knew, we were standing together at the elevator. "You applied here too." He tossed his mask in the trash can, cutting me off. "I was planning to surprise you. Didn't expect you to be so focused on breaking up with me." The elevator went up, reflecting his tall figure. I stood beside him, not knowing where to look. To my utter shock, Adrian calmly typed in the key code to my dorm room and walked in. "How do you even know that?" Adrian impatiently pointed to the roommate list taped to the door. One name was mine. The other was a question mark. "You're the question mark?" Adrian ignored me. I suddenly remembered something I'd heard during freshman orientation. About 3 months ago, the university received a multi-million-dollar donation and used it to completely renovate the dorms. That's why this year's freshmen got to move into 2-person suites that looked like small apartments right after orientation. It was true. There were no coincidences in this world. That donor couldn't be Adrian, could it? I shook my head, trying to get rid of the ridiculous thought. I was so ordinary. No matter how much he liked me, he wouldn't go to such extremes. Adrian threw off his jacket, leaving him in just a t-shirt. The skin it revealed was so pale it almost glowed. Still staring? "Come put this cream on for me." I took the tube of ointment he handed me and carefully applied it to his rash. When I looked up, my eyes met his. Adrian wrapped an arm around my waist, forcing me to kneel on one knee on his lap. "Adrian, He responded lazily, toying with the hair on my forehead. "Remember what I said when we first started dating?" There was a smile in Adrian's eyes, like he was enjoying watching his prey's final struggle. He said, word by word, "Break up with me and I'll fuck you senseless." Go get your clothes. Take a shower." Adrian was always forceful. I stammered, "There's only one bathroom." "We're not going to shower together, are we?" "I'm fine with it. Are you?" In the end, Adrian let me off the hook. He waited outside while I took a quick shower, then pulled me over to dry my hair. He tousled my hair back and forth, making me feel like a piece of dough. Adrian was quiet. After unplugging the hairdryer, he said nothing more than go to sleep. I looked back at him, so many questions on the tip of my tongue. But I was afraid it was all just wishful thinking. I wanted to ask why he came to AU when he had so many better options. I wanted to ask why he, with his sun allergy, would go out in the daytime just to find me. And I wanted to ask why someone who hated sweets would always keep candy in his pocket. Something else? Do you really want to offer yourself up to me? No. He took a step closer. I do. I don't care if you had fun with your little breakup game. From now on, if you dare to crawl one step away from me, I'll break your legs. I stumbled back onto the bed, nodding like a bobblehead. Why was he so aggressive? In high school, Adrian was the baddest guy in the class next to mine. He rarely even showed up. But I thought he was a bad person. Ever since my sexual orientation was outed, he started putting love letters in my desk. The content was always the same. I like you. Go out with me. This felt like a trap, and I wasn't brave enough to fall for it. So not only did I not respond, I actively avoided him. Until the summer break 2 months ago. Adrian came to the bar where I was working every single night. He wouldn't drink, just kept ordering things from me. I tried to give him half his money back, but he dragged me into his car and pinned me against the door. I don't want money. I want my man. I had never liked anyone before, let alone been in a relationship. Looking at his face, some devilish impulse made me want to nod yes. Even if he was just messing with me, I'd accept it. But before I could say anything, everything went black and I passed out. Adrian almost had a panic attack. He forced several gulps of glucose into me before I rebooted. He scowled at me. You have low blood sugar and you don't even eat? You take care of yourself like a homeless person. I'll take care of you from now on. A late night confession really does make you lose all reason. Watching his lips move, I wrapped my arms around his neck and kissed him. We shared several kisses that night. He looked so cold and aloof, but his lips were so soft. I loved kissing him. That happiness lasted for only 3 days. On the eve of Adrian's birthday, I was preparing a surprise for him. I had his friend arrange to bring him to a garden I had set up in the countryside. But I waited there all afternoon, and what I got was his friend's cruel joke. They destroyed the rose garden I had spent all day planting, took my phone, and locked me in an abandoned warehouse. The warehouse was airtight. With my claustrophobia, I had no idea how long I was locked in there or when or if anyone would come to save me. Their mocking voices came through the walls, twisting like a steel knife in my heart. Isn't this a little too much? What's too much? Relax. With Adrian's status, you think he's really gonna stick up for some unwanted little faggot? He's just curious. He'll dump him in a couple of days. Who would actually get with a guy? Isn't that disgusting? Yeah. I was unwanted, and I liked men. Everyone thought I wasn't good enough for Adrian. And here I was, pathetically trapped in this dark warehouse, unable to do a single thing. I could hear my own deafening heartbeat. I couldn't even save myself, just letting despair consume me. Just as I was about to suffocate, someone pulled me up. I struggled to open my eyes and saw who it was. It was Adrian. He held me tightly in his arms, his expression more tense than I had ever seen. When I woke up in the hospital, Adrian was still there, his face etched with exhaustion. He must not have left my side for a second. But while he was resting, I sent him a breakup text and immediately blocked his number. I knew that day wasn't his fault, but I was too scared to keep liking him. I was afraid this relationship was just a whim for him, afraid he'd quickly get tired of someone as plain and ordinary as me. He could walk away easily, but I would be trapped in the web of tenderness he had woven, completely unable to escape. Maybe his friends were right. A cowardly, weak person like me didn't deserve someone as wonderful as Adrian. I had a nightmare. In the dream, Adrian was furiously telling me to get lost. I woke up with a start and reached for the lamp on the nightstand, but nothing happened. After trying a few more times in disbelief, I finally accepted it. The power was out. The last bit of sunset glow had vanished from the window. With the heavy curtains drawn, the entire room was plunged into darkness. I turned on my phone's flashlight, but I forgot to charge it before I fell asleep, and it was already in the red. Just as the low battery warning popped up, I scrambled to the corner of the bed and hugged my knees. The room fell back into a boundless silence. The darkness lunged at me, and I buried my head in my knees, unable to stop shaking. Suddenly, the bed dipped beside me. A strong hand reached out and pulled me into an embrace. "Don't be scared." Adrian's voice was suddenly so gentle. "The power just went out. It'll be back on in a minute." My palms were sweating. I clutched his shirt tightly, my voice trembling with unshed tears. "Adrian?" "Yeah, I'm here." He gently patted my back and shifted me so I was lying against his chest. And then, I became acutely aware of something very hard pressing against my lower stomach. "You?" Adrian didn't try to hide it. "Your crying did it." I tried to pull away, but he wouldn't let me. "What's the big deal? It's just a hug. Aren't you a guy?" That's exactly why I was trying to get away. "Did you get enough sleep?" "Yeah." In the darkness, Adrian cupped my chin and leaned in fast. When his lips touched mine, my eyes flew open in surprise. Adrian was playing dirty. He bit me. "Open your mouth." A familiar yet strange tingling sensation spread from my heart through my entire body. My hands and feet were numb, refusing to obey me. My brain, too. It felt like something had exploded inside, leaving a loud ringing. "You don't know how to kiss? Did I not teach you?" Adrian let me catch my breath before tilting my chin up and kissing me again. He didn't stop until the air conditioner beeped, signaling the power was back on. The lights, which we hadn't turned off, flickered on. I instinctively squeezed my eyes shut, but Adrian was faster, covering them with his hand. "Wait a second before you open them." Adrian's harshness wasn't pure. He was fierce, but he also knew how to be gentle, and it left my face burning with a heat that wouldn't fade. After half a minute, he pulled his hand away to leave. I grabbed his leg as he was stepping off the bed. "Adrian." He turned back, his eyes dangerous. "What? You gonna help me with this? Since we were already living in the same dorm, and we're likely gonna be for the next 4 years, I might as well help." Half an hour later, Adrian stood at the sink, a cold expression on his face as he washed both of our underwear. I peeked out from under the blanket I'd pulled over my head, then quickly burrowed back down. "So embarrassing." I said I would help, so how did it end up the other way around? I heard Adrian's footsteps. He sat on the edge of the bed, pulled the blanket off me and started dressing me. "You're this shy? What are you going to do if we ever actually do something? Die of embarrassment?" "You're not embarrassed at all," I mumbled back weakly. Adrian pinched my chin, his handsome eyes narrowing. "What's that supposed to mean?" I don't know where I got the guts to provoke him. "I'm saying you're really good at it." Adrian let go and gave a nonchalant "I'll send you a few books to read. You'll get good at it, too." "You've never been with anyone else?" My eyes lit up. Adrian stood up and tossed out a parting shot. "I dated a dog once." He added, still unsatisfied, "and that dog dumped me." Freshman orientation had just ended a little while ago. We still had one last break to enjoy. After tonight's welcome party, the dorm next door organized an after-party. I hated these kinds of events, but Adrian dragged me along. "Stop being such a hermit. It's either work or study. Your brain is going to rust." I sat in a corner, looking into his eyes. "Is it? Do you think I'm stupid?" Adrian was sitting improperly on the arm of my chair, a bottle of beer in his hand that he was drinking like water. "No, you're not stupid. So smart I can't even trick you into dating me." I figured he was drunk and just talking nonsense. "You didn't used to drink." Adrian messed up my hair. "That was because I had to drive you home." I had nothing to say to that. Adrian had skipped orientation, so everyone was curious about this new campus heartthrob who had appeared out of nowhere. Even sitting in the corner, eyes were constantly drifting his way. "Adrian, come play a game with us." It wasn't just the girls, even the guys wanted him to join. The class president wanted to play truth or dare, and Adrian pulled me over with him. I didn't play, just listened. When the bottle pointed at Adrian, the room erupted in cheers. The class president rubbed his hands together. "Adrian, you must know a lot of people here are interested in you." Adrian gave a polite smile but didn't speak. Well, on behalf of all the beautiful ladies, are you single? Adrian took a drink from his beer. Just when everyone thought he was refusing to answer, he spoke up. Not sure. He's trying to break up with me. The room was in an uproar. Some were disappointed, others were just here for the drama. His gaze swept over the crowd and landed on me, secretive and bold. When our eyes met, it felt like a kiss without any of the passion. My mouth felt dry. I silently opened a bottle of water and chugged it. Next round, the bottle pointed at Adrian again. The class president grinned slyly. When was the last time you two kissed? Adrian, today. That one word was like dropping water into hot oil. The room exploded. Is your girlfriend at this school too? Adrian glanced at me. That's a new question. I had reason to suspect this was a setup, because the bottle pointed at Adrian yet again. Should we ask the last question again? No. This time it was our class representative. What's the most memorable thing that's happened between you and your girlfriend? Just when everyone expected Adrian to take a drink to avoid the question, he stared at me and said, the time he dumped me. I couldn't get in touch with him anywhere. What was supposed to be a dirty topic suddenly turned into a sob story. Everyone went quiet. Then someone said, damn, a guy that hot can get dumped? If my boyfriend looked like that, I'd slap myself every time we argued. Adrian had been drinking, and the corners of his eyes were a little red. He actually looked a bit pitiful. That night, the news that the campus heartthrob had a girlfriend, and was a hopeless romantic, spread all over AU. I turned off my phone and asked him, why did you do that? Saves trouble. Huh? Now no one will come asking for my number. Louis, you don't believe that I like you? I shook my head, unable to give an answer. It wasn't that I didn't believe him, I didn't believe in myself. You can't help but feel insecure in front of someone you like, especially with someone from Adrian's background. If he hadn't stayed in the city for high school because of his grandmother, I never would have even had the chance to meet him. The gap between us wasn't a wall, it was a chasm. Forget it. I won't force you. Adrian leaned in, took off the uniquely designed pendant from his own neck, and put it on me. His grandma had carved it by hand. He gave it to me the day we made things official. When we broke up, I gave it back. And now, after all that, it was back around my neck. Back at the dorm, he patted the back of my head. Want a late-night snack? I had overslept in the afternoon and then rushed to the party, so my stomach was pretty empty. The moment he mentioned it, it started to growl. I am kind of hungry. You too? I can make something. I'll do it. The freshman apartments had kitchens. Adrian found a tomato and a couple of eggs in the fridge and made 2 bowls of noodles. Eat it while it's hot. The aroma was amazing. I couldn't help but praise him. Adrian, you're incredible. Am I? Not as incredible as you. I took the chopsticks he handed me, my mind drifting into an unrealistic fantasy. If only Adrian were just a normal guy. What are you spacing out for? Adrian pinched my cheek. I was afraid he'd see something was off, so I shook my head and didn't dare look up, but he saw it anyway. Adrian lifted my face, frowning as he wiped away a tear. What's wrong? It's just a bowl of noodles, and you're getting all teary-eyed. I didn't realize you were such a crybaby. I'm not a crybaby. I gently pushed his hand away. Those of us who aren't loved are just a little more sensitive, that's all. So embarrassing. Adrian insulted me, but then he leaned down and kissed my eyelid. Don't cry. I'll be good to you. The school days passed in a peaceful, busy blur. Adrian rarely went out. He had his own professor who taught him remotely, and he only went out for fresh air on rainy days or at night. Just before the long holiday, we were coming back from the supermarket. A ridiculously flashy McLaren was parked in front of our apartment building, its loud color attracting a crowd. The owner was a beautiful woman with long legs. She was leaning against the car door in high heels, smoking a cigarette, looking like she was waiting for someone. Plenty of people were taking pictures, but she didn't seem to mind, even posing for the cameras. When she saw Adrian, her face finally broke into a smile. She waved. Fiancé, there you are. So that's the campus heartthrob's girlfriend. They really do make a perfect couple. Even though I had prepared myself, my heart still trembled when I heard the crowd's chatter. Adrian wasn't smiling. He handed me the groceries. You go on ahead. It's not what it looks like. I'll explain later. Okay, have fun. I was afraid that if I looked a second longer, I'd fall apart. I quickly turned to avoid Adrian's gaze, missing the murderous look in his eyes. I made a simple meal for myself to fill my stomach, but the knife that was usually so easy to handle felt uncooperative tonight. Kept trying to slice my hand. I ran it under the faucet, watching the blood slowly wash away, mentally cursing myself for being so difficult and annoying. You're the one who doesn't dare to be with Adrian, so are you going to get in the way of him being with someone else? Besides, that was his world. He was supposed to be with a stunning beauty like her. And didn't he say he would explain? What was I so upset about? I cleaned the cut and found a band-aid in the first aid kit, but didn't end up using it. After eating, I cleaned the entire apartment. With nothing else to do, I cooked 2 chicken breasts, let them cool, shredded them, and planned to go downstairs to feed the cats. The cats in the flower beds were all fat and healthy. They were living the good life. I stroked a big orange tabby's head and complained to it. Oh, great cat god, I want a boyfriend. If you want a boyfriend, you should talk to me. What's the point of praying to a cat? Adrian walked without a sound, scaring me so much I almost fell over. You're back already? Yeah. He held up a box in his hand. Brought you some cake. Let's go upstairs. I put the cake in the fridge. Adrian stood behind me, watching. Not eating it. I just ate. He grabbed my wrist. Nothing you want to ask? Nope. Louis. Hearing my full name, I looked up. Are you going to yell at me again? Adrian, you're obviously in a bad mood. It doesn't matter. I tried to pull my hand away. Adrian yanked me with force, throwing me onto the bed. His eyes were cold. I really hate it when you're like this. You have something to say, but you won't. What's with the stubbornness? I'm not being stubborn. I knew why I was angry, but I didn't understand what right I had to be. It was normal for Adrian to hate me. After all, even I hated myself like this. Come here. He grabbed my ankle and yanked me back. As if afraid I'd crawl away, he sat on top of me. Adrian's handsome face was cold. When he was silent, he looked like he was about to eat someone. I swallowed hard and opened my mouth to say something, but the words wouldn't come out. Adrian's hand closed around my throat, gradually tightening. Talk. I placed my hand on his as a sign of surrender. I heard him tsk. This attitude of yours really makes me want to strangle you. I closed my eyes. Then just kill me. After a long moment, a gentle tap hit my cheek. Wanna sleep with me? Adrian's expression was serious, not joking at all. He brought it up. How could I refuse? We were both guys. Sleeping together wouldn't kill me. Okay. He lifted my face. Then you have to be with me first. I need a clear answer from you. Are you still going to break up with me? Do I get a say in it? Adrian raised an eyebrow. Have I ever actually forced you to do anything? I shook my head. Then tell me, what are we? Adrian pressed on, as if he'd tear me apart on the spot if I said something he didn't like. Is it that hard to answer? I looked into his eyes and said hesitantly, roommates who share a bed? Adrian said nothing, just kept staring at me. Then, an ex I'm fooling around with? Adrian rolled off me in frustration, his expression impossibly dark. He threw out a cold line. Sleep by yourself then. The click of a lighter sounded from the balcony. I sat on the bed for a long time, trying to figure out how things had turned out like this. Wasn't I the one throwing a tantrum? How did the tantrum get transferred to Adrian? I sighed, got off the bed, and just before opening the balcony door, I turned back and put on the band-aid I had left on the desk earlier. I slid the balcony door open. Our eyes met. I felt a little guilty. Adrian put out his cigarette. Go back inside. It smells like smoke out here. I want to talk to you. Adrian flicked the cigarette butt away, then suddenly grabbed me and pinned me against the wall from behind. It was a position of complete control. He looked down at me, enjoying my panic, then leaned in and bit my ear. His words practically ground out between his teeth. I dropped millions on a donation just so you could live somewhere nice. I specifically requested to be your roommate, to take care of you, to coddle you, and you still think I'm just playing around? Louis, do you even have a heart? His words left me completely stunned. It felt like a blow to my chest, a dull, aching pain. So the university's donation, it really was from him. It was for me. Don't be angry. I turned around and wrapped my arms around his waist, pressing myself against him. Adrian, don't be angry. When he went to grab my hands, he finally felt the strange texture. Adrian held up my hand. What happened to your hand? I cut it while I was chopping vegetables. The man who was furious just seconds ago instantly deflated. Is it bad? Let me see. It's fine, it doesn't hurt. Are you not angry anymore? Adrian flicked my forehead. Why wasn't this on before? He realized. You knew I wouldn't be able to stay mad at you, didn't you? My little trick worked. You really couldn't. Adrian ruffled my hair. I've never been truly angry with you, except for when you broke up with me. He looked down. I've never in my life willingly let someone play me for a fool like that. I'm sorry, I said. Adrian, so do you want to be with me or not? I finally admitted it. I do. Adrian, I held up my bandaged finger for him to see. The cut isn't deep at all. It doesn't even need this. I'm only wearing it for one reason, so that you would see it. Just like my feelings for you, they were never truly hidden. Then why wouldn't you just say it? He traced the corner of my eye. I need you to say the words, because the next step after getting something is losing it. Adrian, I don't want to lose you. We're not even together and you're already thinking about breaking up? Neither of us can truly see this relationship from the other's perspective. I get it, he said after thinking for a long time. Then he nodded. He cupped my face and kissed me. Close your eyes. We shared a very, very long kiss, until we both lost control and stumbled through the door. Clothes fell to the floor. Adrian reached for something he'd bought tonight. When I saw the square wrapper, I froze. When did you put that in there? Checkout. Grabbed a couple boxes. Grabbed them how? You even got the right size? Adrian, you liar. I've wanted to do this for 2 months. Adrian, you're an animal. I know. Show good boy. Sometime during the night, a storm had started. The rain battered the trees and plants outside for hours. When everything was quiet again, I lay in the crook of Adrian's shoulder, staring into space. He stroked my head. Interested in knowing what I was doing tonight now? MHM. That girl is a friend. Our parents set us up as kids, but there's nothing between us. She doesn't even like guys. The fiancé thing is a joke. It won't happen again. A friend? Adrian's voice was deep and gentle. Not like those assholes who locked you in that dark warehouse. They were classmates at best, using my name to cause trouble. After that happened, I dealt with every single one of them. I heard a couple of them were in the hospital until school started. My heart involuntarily softened. You didn't have to do all that for me. That was nothing. Adrian sounded a little proud. Before we even started dating, I pretty much kicked the closet door down for everyone. You don't want to make it official yet, so we can wait. But I'll get you to say yes eventually. Adrian. I propped myself up to look at him. When he looked back, I lunged forward and bit his cheek. Sharp teeth, little puppy. You're the puppy. Life with Adrian went on as usual. Arguing that a part-time job isn't going to make you rich, he forbid me from working myself to the bone anymore. The second we had a break, he'd drag me off on a trip somewhere. The kind where he's completely covered up. The standard uniform was sunglasses, a black mask, a windbreaker, and gloves. Not an inch of skin showing, but he was still devastatingly handsome, like a personal butler. Adrian didn't let me swoon over him. He said he'd fuck me every time I did. How is that a punishment? During our travels, I felt bad about him paying for everything, so I'd occasionally sneak off to pay the bill. Then, 10 times the amount would mysteriously appear in my bank account. The transaction note was always incredibly arrogant. You like paying? Huh? Here, go pay for everything. After that happened twice, I decided to talk to him about it. But Adrian just gave me a go on. I'm listening look and didn't change a thing. When he got tired of me nagging, he'd just say, I like spending money on my fiancé, so what are you gonna do? Kill me? I wasn't that brave. Wait, how did we fast forward to fiancé? Aren't we just fooling around? Adrian glanced at me and shoved an open coconut into my hands. You can fool around all you want. I'm getting married. We can just agree to disagree. What good deed did I do in a past life to deserve such a domineering ATM? When we got back to school after the break, I found out Adrian had put together a team to compete in next year's RoboMasters competition. And without my knowledge, I was already signed up. Me? Did you sign me up? Adrian. It was nothing. I'm a little scared. Adrian. What's there to be scared of when I'm here? For once, Adrian was serious. You're going to be very busy from now on. You'll do whatever I do. If I start a company next year, you're coming with me on business trips. Understand? I nodded dumbly. Even someone as dense as me could understand now. He was paving the way for my future, using his connections and his methods to give me a shortcut. He, who was allergic to the sun and hated going outside more than anything, was willing to do all this for me. The only thing I could do was give him everything I had in return. Adrian hugged me. I'm going to give you a lot of options. You just need to find what you love and stick with it. But along the way, you'll meet a lot of new people and see a lot of new things. Listen carefully to what I'm about to say. Adrian lifted my face. In a couple of days, we're going to sign a contract. The contract will lay out the terms for me giving you resources and connections. I think you have a right to know about it first. What is it? I was a little curious. I want you to love me forever. And when we graduate, you'll marry me and move abroad with me. And if I break the contract? Adrian pressed the back of my head and kissed me. Then you might as well be dead. I didn't say anything. A vile part of me secretly thrilled. Adrian, did I scare you? No, I'll sign it. Remember what you said, Louis. From the day you agreed to be with me, there was no turning back. Okay. Adrian would never know. For someone like me who so desperately needed security, his possessiveness and his need for control were the most reassuring things in the world. The day we signed the contract, Adrian and I officially got together. He posted about it on his socials, and the comments were full of question marks. Our next-door neighbor in the dorm was also confused. Wait, you guys weren't dating before? You were joined at the hip, literally everywhere together. How were you not a thing? I read the comment, silently stuffed a handful of chips in my mouth, and ran. It was true we didn't have a label, but we were definitely not innocent. Louis? Adrian's low voice came from behind me, and he snatched the open bag of chips from my hand. Less junk food. If it tastes good, it's not junk. Adrian, go wash your hands. Change your clothes, we're going out. Where to? He just grabbed my hand and dragged me to the sink himself. To show you off. Adrian's extra. Louis never knew that we met once when we were kids. Before I was 10, my family wasn't as wealthy as we are now. In fact, we were deep in debt. My parents sent me to my grandma's house in the countryside to hide out. I wasn't such a homebody back then. Even though I knew I'd basically die in the sunlight, I still loved to go wandering around in long sleeves and pants, carrying an umbrella. The boys in the countryside ran in packs. They were all little hellions. They saw I was from the city, carrying a fancy umbrella, and said they wanted to show me something cool. Turns out their idea of something cool was blowing up a dog's food bowl with firecrackers. The watchdog got so mad it chewed through its rope and chased us like we were chickens. To save my life, I lost not just my umbrella but one of my shoes. Luckily, I was fast enough to scramble up a tree and escape. The dog barked furiously below, and I clung to the tree trunk, trembling. After about 10 minutes, the vicious dog finally stalked off, still grumbling. I hadn't even caught my breath when my neck and face started to itch intensely. I touched my skin and, sure enough, a huge rash had broken out. The worst part was I had the courage to climb up, but now I was too scared to get down. Just as I was about to risk breaking a leg and jumping, a little boy in tattered clothes appeared. His eyes were big and bright. He held out his hands to me. Jump, I'll catch you. I thought he must be a little saint. He was so small, yet he wasn't scared off by my face, which was swollen like a pig's head from the allergic reaction. He was actually being kind to me. I thought, I have to repay him when I get down. Then we both crashed into a pile of rocks. His hands were all scraped and bleeding, but the first thing he did was ask if I was hurt. I thought he was so silly, so sincere. He found my umbrella for me and waved goodbye with a smile. That was the first time I thought the sunlight wasn't so bad. Because when it fell on him, it made him look like a little angel. I forgot to ask his name. Luckily, I found out from my grandma. The little angel's name was Louis. Louis. Goo. Grandma said he had it rough. His alcoholic stepfather would lock him in a dark room and beat him every day. She used to hear him crying at night. After my face went back to normal, I bought him a gift and went to see him, but I was told his mom had fought with his stepdad, and they'd left without a word. And just like that, I lost all contact with Louis. Later, my family got a huge payout from a redevelopment project. My parents used that money to get in on a business boom and made a fortune. And I became the young master everyone talked about. My parents wanted to send me abroad, but I didn't really want to go, so I just stayed in this city. After my grandmother passed away, I transferred to the top high school in the city. On my first day, I saw Louis in the class next door. His school uniform was washed so much it was faded, and he was still so thin. At an age when other kids were eating 2 big bowls of rice, he was eating steamed buns with pickled vegetables. I had someone contact him privately and insisted on sponsoring him. So he wouldn't get suspicious, I didn't give him too much, about $500 a month. He accepted it. He was finally able to take care of himself and look clean, but the moment he got a chance, he'd go work some under-the-table job. What was wrong with him? Louis's grades were excellent, always in the top 10. He'd send his report card to his sponsor, who would then send a screenshot to me. I'd stare at the message, "I'll keep working hard," and smile. So cute, like a little kitten. Secretly watching him became my biggest hobby. I knew everything, from who he talked to, down to how many bites of food he took at lunch. The more I watched, the more I liked him. And then I fell hopelessly. Liking guys wasn't exactly against the family rules. I just didn't know how he'd feel about it. Afraid that Louis wouldn't be able to accept it, I decided to keep my distance for now and wait until after graduation. But fate was on my side. Louis's sexual orientation was outed by his roommate. I heard he liked guys, and I laughed my ass off. You're telling me things could be this good? I beat up the asshole who outed him until he was screaming. After that, they started calling me the school badass or Adrian and kissing my ass. No one believed I was a good person. I was just trying to stand up for the kitten I had a crush on. What did I do wrong? Ever since I found out he liked guys, I stopped holding back. I put a love letter in his desk every day. High schoolers can't keep their mouths shut. Once I started sending those letters, no one dared to give him crap about his orientation anymore. If they wanted to talk shit, they'd have to talk shit about me too. And I'd like to see them try. Graduation. I finally got him. He dared to break up with me. He dared to not want me. He dared to disappear on me again. I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna turn into a villain. Time to get possessive. Caught him. Wanna fuck him senseless. Whatever. He's being pretty good. I'll put up with it. Even if he's a pain in the ass, he's my pain in the ass. It was just short of forcing him. My pain in the ass finally agreed to be with me. After all these years, I finally have my man.
I'm crying.
I'm so happy. From now on, my little angel kitten will never have to feel insecure again. I love him. He deserves to be loved by everyone.